Let's begin by telling you that the Department of State Service, DSS, arrested Omoyele Sowore, the convener of the Revolution Now movement at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport in Lagos. Sowore was detained on Sunday immediately after arriving in Nigeria. His arrest follows the leak of a DSS memo ordering his apprehension upon his return to the country. In response to the leaked report, Sowore criticized the DSS for targeting him, stating that he had planned to return to Nigeria very soon. Sowore, who had been in the United States with his family, arrived in Lagos at approximately 9:43 West African time. However, Sowore was subsequently released after he was quizzed by officials of the secret police. News Central correspondent Dapo Adeboye is currently on location with Sowore and we will be bringing you more information about his well-being and what exactly is happening at the moment with him. So do stay with us on that one. Now, away from that, marketers are calling for direct access to petrol from the Dangote refinery, criticizing the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPCL) dominant control over the market. Chinedu Ukadike, the National Publicity Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, urged that the market should remain open to allow all in line with the NNPCL's earlier willing buyer, willing seller commitment. The NNPCL had stated that it was not the sole buyer of products from the Dangote refinery and that the refinery was free to sell its petrol to any marketer. However, just a week later, the federal government announced that the NNPCL would be exclusive buyer of the petrol from the refinery. At a press briefing in Abuja on Friday, Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, confirmed that marketers interested in purchasing petrol would need to go through the National Oil Firms Trading Company. Now to discuss this, we are joined by President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Abubakar Megandi Garima. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Now, sir, what is your stance on the federal government's decision to make NNPC the sole buyer of petrol from the Dangote refinery, seemingly making a 180 turn on the decision from before?
Well, in fact, already before, we normally buy our product from the NNPC and private depot owners. So it's just a similar things that they are doing now. So actually, we are not against Dangote to sell the product to the NNPC, and the NNPC will sell the product to us. That one is not a problem. So all what we need, we went a situation whereby the time when NNPC is selling, let them sell it direct to us, not to tell us to go back to the private depot owners and collect the product from them again.
And how do you think that this decision is going to impact the independent marketers and also the petroleum industry in a whole?
Well, you know, we independent petroleum marketers, already we are used to buying product through the NNPC, and all what we are after in considering the rates when they are going to give us, they should try as much as possible and give us a good rate so that we can be able to sell to the motorists at a lower rate. Just like the way I understand that Dangote is giving them at the rate of 766 naira. So they too, they try and see how much are they going to sell in their retail outlet. So by the time when they are going to give us, they should give us the price that we can be able to compute with their retail outlets.
Let's talk about monopoly. Do you fear that this is establishing a new domestic monopoly in the oil and gas sector?
No, you know, when we say monopoly, so this one we cannot call it monopoly because it's something that at least if they sell to them, due to the nature of the way things are, because I know they may consider some certain things before they come to this kind of understanding. So it's not a monopoly, but rather let's see how it will work. But we are ready to actually participate in the program that which the NMPC is running.
Okay, so are you categorically stating that this does not present any disadvantage to IPMAN and its members?
No, it doesn't have any disadvantage. There is no any disadvantage at the beginning. It is only when we see if they cannot be able, if the NMPC cannot be able to give us our product direct, telling us to go back to the private airport owners and be buying product. That is just the way we can take it. It has a certain issues. But as of now, let's see how the business is going. So we are waiting for the NMPCs to start collecting. Then we look at their sharing formula. And the sharing formula that we wanted them to do, whatever they are going to sell in their retail outlet, let them give us a price that which we can be able to sell the same price with their retail outlet or even below.
So the new arrangement here, how much difference does it have from the willing buyer, willing seller commitments the NNPC had put forward before?
That is, we only know the NNPC rate, and the NNPC up to now, they didn't tell us the marketers rate. How much are they going to sell to independent petroleum marketers and major marketers? So when we hear that rate, we can be able to determine by the time when we buy it from Lagos, how much are we going to sell it to the Nigerian populace?
Okay. I'm wondering if you have any message to the members and consumers regarding this, the potential impact of this decision to the petroleum industry. If you have any message, you can give them now.
Well, we are calling to the attention of the whole Nigerians. Let's give this program a chance, because from all indication, by God's grace, I know when we started the program, because we are buying in Naira, not in dollar, and Dangote too is buying crude oil in Naira, not in dollar. So we are expecting a lower rate at the end of the day, because the Naira will appreciate, whereby the demand of the dollar will come down. And immediately once the demand of the dollar is down, we are expecting the Naira to go up, which is good for the country.
Well, thank you very much, Alhaji Abubakar Karima. Good to have you here on the news. Thank you. Now, in the meantime, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has stressed that the only way to rescue Nigeria's economy is by putting an end to crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism. The governor made the remark while receiving the new commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Rivers State Command, Joaquin Okafor, at the government house. Fubara urged the new commandant to fully enforce the Corps mandate, particularly in combating economic sabotage in the Niger Delta region. Okafor, in response, pledged to collaborate with other security agencies and stakeholders to gather the intelligence necessary to tackle these issues and protect the nation's economic interests. And now to politics. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has declared the upcoming September 21st governorship elections a do-or-die affair, warning against any attempts to rig the poll. Speaking at the grand finale of the People's Democratic Party campaign in Benin on Saturday, Obaseki emphasized that the election posed an existential threat. During the rally at Garrick Memorial Secondary School, the acting national chairman of the PDP, Ilia Damagun, also made a strong statement, vowing that party members would defend their votes with blood. The Edo PDP had earlier refused to sign a peace accord, citing the illegal arrests and detention of its members. Tensions remain high, with both the PDP and APC accusing each other of inciting violence and engaging in vote buying ahead of the elections. Welcome back. The Zamfara state government has commended the establishment of a new military command with headquarters to be stationed in Gusau, the state capital. The state government applauded the decision, which was made known by the Chief of Defense Staff following his visit to Gusau, the state capital. The senior special assistant to the state governor on broadcast, media, press and public affairs says that the command will cater for the special security needs of Katsina, Zamfara and Sokoto states, all domiciled in the northwest region. He says that the increased operational tempo of the military, which has led to the killing of several notorious terrorist commanders in the state, has brought some relief to citizens of the state.
Chief of Defense Staff before meeting Chief of Army Staff. So it was based on his persistent call, persistent demand for the restoration of peace and security in Zamfara that warrant President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to send Chief of Army Staff. First, he was here early this year to see things for himself, and then of recent yesterday, General Christopher Musa, he came. He told Governor Dauda Lawal that he was in the state at the instance of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for him to come and establish a theater of operation in the northwest. They called Operation Fansanyama, the way, if I can vividly quote CDS right, he said the theater of operation will be situated in Gusau, Zamfara state capital. The commandant of the operation will be named, and then President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, approved the deployment of more personnel, more military personnel and equipment. The theater of operation will be sited in the next 2 weeks. We have started seeing the impact of his visit. Of recent, the military succeeded in killing a very notorious bandit kingpin by name Kachala Halil Sububu, who was the terrorist leader and gun runner in the northwestern part of the country. He was neutralized alongside his commanders of about 47 to 50 of them who were gunned down. All their, machines, motorcycles, their, guns, AK-47, RPGs, everything, were recovered from them.
Now joining us, News Central correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu. Emmanuel, good afternoon. Now, a theater of operations. I'm very curious regarding how serious the security situation is in the northwest to opportune this theater of operations being established.
Two things actually made that serious. We're talking about a farmer who is being able to produce 12,000 bags of rice in the season. Right now, he cannot produce 1 bag. Why? Because of insecurity. And then we are talking about vast arable land spanning to thousands of square meters, hundreds of kilometers, are not being able to be cultivated. And we are talking about lands that do not even require fertilizer at all. I mean, bandits have taken over. So that cripples the economy of that particular state and then the adjoining states. So crashing livelihoods, making life difficult for citizens. So that is why the state government actually is taking this matter very serious. And I don't mean see words about it. They see it as very embarrassing that they have to involve the military, and that was what led to the establishment of that theater command. And that theater command is going to take care of 3 states, Sokoto, Zamfara and Katsina. Yeah.
Okay, Bagudu, now we understand that bandit kingpin Kachala Sabubu has been killed. What does this mean for Zamfara, Sokoto and Katsina states?
A huge relief, I can tell you that. Kachala Sabubu is somebody that actually makes his money from the proceeds of gold. He has gold, and he has over 100,000 cattle. Some people actually allege that his cattle are millions. So he has used a lot of young children, youth, to extract gold from Zamfara, make a lot of money for himself, and become so powerful that he's even the godfather of Bello Triji and a lot of other notorious kingpin. So he's gunning down, his killing has actually brought a lot of massive relief to those people within that region, and it actually brings a ray of hope that the war of insecurity is actually yielding results.
All right, Emmanuel Bagudu, thank you very much for bringing us that information. Thank you. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has commended 2 senior security officials for their efforts in improving security across the FCT. The honorees Assistant Inspector General of Police Benneth Igwe and Assistant Director General of the Department of State Service Ado Muazu were recognized for their dedication and service. Igwe, the former Commissioner of Police for the FCT, was recently promoted to AIG overseeing Zone 7, while Muazu, the former FCT State Director of DSS, has been promoted to Assistant DG and transferred to the service's national headquarters. Speaking at a dinner held in their honor on Saturday in Abuja, Wike praised both officers for their relentless commitments to safeguarding residents, specifically highlighting Igwe's effort in combating criminality in the FCT. To update on the flood situation in Borno State, camps for displaced flood victims in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, are facing critical overcrowding as economic hardship drives more people to seek refuge. The National Emergency Management Agency is calling for urgent intervention to support the increasing number of displaced persons. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes this report.
This is Bakassi IDP camp, one of the largest sites currently home to over 26,000 people. More families continue to arrive daily, seeking shelter from the devastation.
Surala wahala lankare sutiro wahala langayana ma gwamnar askirnyana isuna andi salam dunai askirnyana amma amdoni kakari ba isana andiro hangal yadaduna buri gode yan jimjim guzya kam ka andar tarin amma namyana andi amde trombaro andiro zuwa zaimba.
Local authorities are doing their best to address the immediate needs of the growing population, but resources are stretched thin and the challenges are immense.
This is an international catastrophe. We have never seen something of this magnitude here, and of course we are overwhelmed. Assistance is needed from all partners, the federal government, the state government, and any partner that can assist in bringing our people, removing our people from this distress. I think is needed presently because there's still inadequate food, there's inadequate sanitary kits, there is still inadequate water supply. However, NEMA has sent in the water purifiers.
Hawa Mustafa, one of the flood victims, has come to the NEMA mobile clinic seeking medical care.
Kuruna de kudondore teda zumangila ala nyero mukwazi agulte ba amma leidi ta kurine falinde yaro sarna ma shi wangila ukula ya kamar tare don di yarte sha sitana ukula ya kila sirnin ma kwaye ngole fandike kwaye gaki.
Other patients also voiced frustration over the long wait times to receive medical attention at the camps. The influx of non-food victims has further strained already limited resources, leading to dire conditions including food shortages, inadequate sanitation, and a lack of medical supplies.
Despite ongoing challenges including damaged infrastructure and limited access to affected areas, rescue teams are working tirelessly to meet up with trapped individuals who are in distress. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has dismissed any plans by government to regulate the cost of house rent within the federal capital. The minister made this known during a visit to the largest quarry in West Africa, located at the Kubwa district, saying rent regulation will discourage investors who intend to support government's efforts aimed at providing housing for citizens. Amadin Uyi reports.
It was a visit to the largest quarry in West Africa, situated in the federal capital. The team led by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike took time to inspect operations and activities ongoing in the quarry. He expressed satisfaction at the work seen on ground, but reservations at the impact on the environment.
I would not lie to you, I'm really encouraged what I've seen. I'm really very encouraged. My only problem is the environmental impact assessment, which is said they are up to standard, they have no problems. I think it's my problem. I'm very, very.
The minister, however, says that his visit is not connected to housing plans and efforts aimed at tackling its cost within the capital.
There's never been a time that Nigerians have never complained about increasing rent. There's never been a time. Even as students, when I was in university, when we want to go and get maybe a self-contained at that time, and they say you should pay 100,000 naira a year. We also complain 100,000 a year. It's too high.
He dismissed plans of regulating the cost of house rent in the capital, saying government has no intention of doing so.
I don't agree with people who are always complaining about rent increase. There are all increases in everything today. So that should not be simple that you want us to make a law to say that a two-bedroom flat should not be more than 50,000 naira, for example, or 100,000 naira. I don't think you're encouraging the investors. That's not a major problem now.
The quarry owned by Zaba said is located in the Kuba district and has about 800 employees. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
The Secretary to the Federal Government, George Akume, has extended the well wishes and birthday greetings of President Tinubu to the Esama of Benin, Chief Igbenedion, on the occasion of his 90th birthday celebration. The President appreciated Chief Igbenedion's contributions to the development of Edo State and the nation at large, while wishing him good health and praying for his family. Also in attendance at the ceremony were former governors, diplomats, politicians, and several dignitaries.
Esama of Benin, accompanied by his special advisor and his major pillar of support, and indeed the entire members of the House of Igbenedion. Let me also recognize in a very special way the class of 1999 have been represented by His Excellency Lucky Igbenedion, former governor of Edo State, Governor James Sibori, former governor of Delta State, Governor Adebayo Ni Adebayo, governor of Ekiti State, Obam Victor Atta, former governor of Akwa Ibom, Odemo the Great, the former captain, former governor of Imo State, and this was the set that anchored the return of a country to presidential democracy in this year.
Coming up, 3 dead, 49 injured in Zagazig collision. We'll tell you more after the break. Join us then. We now go over to our News Central correspondent, Dakbo Adeboye, who is on location with Omoyele Sowore, who has just been released by the DSS after returning to Nigeria at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport. Dakbo, good afternoon. If you can hear us, could you please give us a situation report of what's happening at your location currently, please?
All right, Mazino, thank you so much for bringing me on. It's been a very eventful day already. A lot from the airport and, of course, where we are currently, with Omoyele Sowore. Let me just, of course, get into the interview straight. Omoyele Sowore, great to be back home, I believe.
Yes. Well, I'm back home, but it was because when I left in March and also in May, I did make a promise that I'll be back, that I'm not going anywhere from Nigeria. So it doesn't matter what anybody tries to do. And that is why when I was informed and I got a copy of their memo to the airport that I was declared wanted, it just made me feel very proud that I was once again upgraded by the Nigerian government. I've been on the watch list of Nigerian government since I was in the university in 1992. But I found out officially that I've been upgraded to the highest possible level. So,
what do you mean by upgraded?
Well, so they have different grades. There are people who they watch, just generally, if you are leaving the country, they just try to figure out where you're going. But the level that I'm on is a level in which whenever I arrive, I'm supposed to be accompanied, arrested, and detained, and taken to the office of the DG of DSS. That's the level that I am. I think it's the highest level. It's like the GCON of, or the GCFR of the National Award for Troublemakers.
So what happened this morning? Because we saw all of the drama that unfolded at the airport. We saw security forces trying to sort of whisk you away, and at some point it looked like they let you go.
Yes, when I arrived, they seized my passport. The immigration guy seized my passport when I presented my passport for processing. And then after standing around for a while, I asked them, what's the problem? They said there is some notation on my passport that that needs clarification from Abuja. And I said, who is that? Who put the... Of course I knew. And they said they're going to start making all kinds of calls. And then they asked me to sit down at the place. I sat down beside them. After a while, I went back to them and asked, what's going on? And it's been like 30 minutes at this point. And they said they're still waiting for Abuja to clarify. Then they took me to their office where I was briefly detained. And then I tweeted before going into that office, and some 10 minutes later they came and said, oh, it's just been resolved. You can go. So I went to try and get my bag. Of course, one of my bag was missing. I hope it's not the DSS that stole it. But
you said one of your bag was missing.
Yes.
Is it still missing, or have you?
Missing, but I've incidented with the airline to look for it, because the tracking on my phone from the airline shows that the bag arrived. So, but like I said, I don't want to. I hope they didn't try to do something stupid with my bag, because they might go and plant some things inside of my bag and claim I brought drugs into the country. I don't do drugs.
All right. Now, let's talk about the reason why you are on the watch list. A lot of people have asked, what does this reflect of democracy?
Well, it's a reminder to those of us who fought for democracy that what we fought for has not come to happen in reality. And we just have to keep fighting until we get what is desirous. And I don't know, even if the democracy as we know it now, globally, is even desirous anymore, because it's been hijacked everywhere, including from the source. They no longer even do credible elections in the U.S. anymore. It's just crazy. But what is known to us as our own way of interacting and accepting governance is democracy in this country. And that's the basis of our engagement and interaction with governance. So that's what we continue to fight for. But I'm not surprised, but even though I feel sad that in 2024, people are still being hounded. Protesters have been arraigned and prosecuted for treason, in which they ridiculously wrote in the charge sheet that they were trying to overthrow the government with placards. And these guys are still in detention. Even when they're granted bail, the judges granted bail, given conditions that they know the protesters cannot meet. And over 2,000 protesters were aware. Some protesters were detained for 60 days without trial by judges, federal judges. So these are part of the reason we must take our country back. And it's the reason I can never, and I'm saying it, I'm not bragging, I'm not running away from anybody. It is either we get it right, or we all perish. When I mean perish, if we don't do anything about the situation of our country, we are all going to perish. These people are going to just finish everybody.
I mean, let's talk about the circumstances which you were picked up. Are you harassed?
No, I wasn't harassed. It's difficult to harass me. I'm immune to harassment. So I'm very calm in the face of provocation. But in fairness to them, there was nothing like that. I'm talking about immigration people. But you remember that the immigration DG, or this CG of immigration, had said this during the August uprising, that they have some people on watch list. So I think this is our list. She was disgraced today.
All right. Now, this freedom that you have now, I mean, is it temporary?
I don't care. Whatever happens, it's my attitude to life is sera, whatever will be. But the most important thing is that we get the appropriate freedom, qualitative freedom for our people. When I was about to start my journey, I sent some messages saying that was after it was revealed to me that my name was on the watch list, that we have a country to save and we cannot be deterred by all these distractions. These are distractions by those in government. And they know it. They are running out of time. And that's why they are very desperate. Interestingly and coincidentally, the president is supposed to return today. So, but you know which one is more eventful? The real president came and the whole country knew. When he comes in now, nobody will know. But that's on the lighter side. We must get our people to move very quickly to save this country, to save themselves from the destructive attributes of these people in political power. Because a lot of people cannot believe that a Bola Tinubu, who was accused in 1994, firstly by the military, of trying to bomb a Jigbo depot, is also doing the same thing to protesters. He was accused by Abacha. That's the reason he left the country. But contrary to their own decision to leave, I am not leaving. But I will continue to maintain my right to travel freely whether you put me on watch lists or down lists or clean lists, whichever list you want to put me on, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that we must save this country and we must liberate ourselves. We have people to liberate, and that's our focus right now.
All right. Now, talking about liberation, I know you've been very vocal as to the protesters being detained, the End Bad Governance protesters being detained at the moment, the likes of Michael Lenin and the rest. I'd like you to speak on that.
Well, part of what I'll do now that I'm here is to work to ensure that they are released. From Kano to Kaduna, Michael Lenin, and whomever. We found out that a professor at Bayes University was also abducted by the DSS, and he's been in detention all this while. So we're going to put a lot of pressure to get everybody free so that we can prepare very quickly for Fearless in October. Yeah, so we will need all the protesters to be back on the street as soon as possible. Yeah, so that's a must. But if you don't get them out, well, they might end up joining them there pretty soon.
Let's talk about Fearless in October. What's going down?
When it happens, you find out. You remember? Yes. You remember when we were planning the August, then the End Bad Governance in August? Most of you, even in the media, did not know it would happen. It happened, and it happened in a way that surprised everybody. So let's just wait and see what happens in October. And I want to use this opportunity to say it very clearly. If you are feeling the burden and the yoke of bad governance, you don't have to wait till October 1. If you are organized enough, strong enough, it's not anybody's father's property. It's not a copyright to Sowore or Take It Back movement. Everybody that is suffering, you can revolt at any time you want, any day, night, afternoon. So you don't have to wait for us. But we organize, and our own organizations collectively are looking at October 1 as a starting point.
All right. Thank you so much, Omoyele Sowore.
And I wanted to remind you, the last time you interviewed me, you said, "Oh, Sowore, you're talking from outside the country." Now
we are seeing physically. All right. There you have it, Mazino. Of course, an exclusive there, News Central with Omoyele Sowore, just touching down in Nigeria as, of course, it's breaking.
Well, thank you very much, Dakwa. I do remember that one interview we had with him when we mentioned that. But welcome, and thank you very much for being with us on the news. Thank you. Now, tragedy struck in northern Egypt on Saturday as two trains collided, killing 3 people, including 2 children, according to the health ministry and state media. The crash, which occurred in Zagazig, around 80 kilometers north of Cairo, left 49 others injured. The health ministry confirmed this on social media. This is the latest in a series of deadly accidents plaguing Egypt's aging rail network, long criticized for its poor infrastructure and mismanagement. Egypt's state-owned newspaper Al Haram confirmed that 2 children were among the fatalities. Transport Minister Kamel El Wazir stated in a television interview that the cause of the crash was due to human element. But further details would be left to the security services, he said. He also confirmed there were no technical issues. I beg your pardon. He also confirmed there were no technical issues with the trains. With a population of 105 million, Egypt heavily relies on rail transportation. But the network, one of the largest in Africa, has been repeatedly plagued with accidents. In 2021, 2 major incidents within a month claimed the lives of over 40 people. Welcome back. French authorities have confirmed that 8 migrants died early Sunday when their overcrowded boat capsized while attempting to cross the channel from France to England. This tragedy comes less than 2 weeks after the deadliest such disaster this year. For years, both the French and British governments have worked to stem the flow of migrants who pay smugglers thousands of euros for the dangerous journey aboard small, overcrowded boats. Despite efforts to prevent these crossings, maritime authorities reported a surge in attempts over recent days, with 200 people rescued between Friday and Saturday alone. Earlier this month, at least 12 migrants, mostly from Eritrea, died when their boat capsized off the northern French coast.
Survenu vers 1h ce matin au niveau des côtes d'Ambleteuse où nous nous trouvons actuellement avec le naufrage d'une embarcation de migrants. Le bilan est terrible puisqu'on déplore le décès de 8 personnes. L'embarcation a pris la mer depuis le secteur de l'Aslac, à proximité de la commune de Vimereux, avec 59 personnes à son bord.
Sports now. Remo Stars continue their perfect start to the 2023-24 Nigeria Premier Football League campaign with a slim 1-0 victory over Sunshine Stars. The game was the first Southwest Derby of the season, decided at the Remo Stars Stadium in Ikenne. It was a debut goal for Shoaib Ibrahim. The Sky Blue Star have now gone over 180 minutes of action to secure back-to-back victories and clean sheets. Elsewhere, Rivers United earned their first maximum points of the season with a comfortable 3-1 win over struggling Heartland FC. A brace for Kabir Abdullahi and a goal from Taufik Otani secured the maximum points for the pride of Rivers. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Amunike has now tasked back-to-back defeats in his opening 2 games with the Nazimillionaires. And Lionel Messi marked his return from injury with 2 goals and an assist to help Inter Miami to a 3-1 win against Philadelphia Union. The World Cup winning Argentina captain had not played since injuring his ankle in his country's Copa America final victory over Colombia in July. That saw him miss his this month's World Cup qualifiers, while he was also sat out 8 games for his Major League Soccer side, though they led to MLS Eastern Conference standings. The 37-year-old former Barcelona star played the full 90 minutes in his first start for 3 months. Philadelphia took the lead after 58 seconds through Mikel Urrea, and Miami equalized in 26th minute. Messi scoring from a pass from Luis Suarez following 2 work from another ex-Barca teammate, that's Jordi Alba. Messi fired his team ahead 4 minutes later after being teed up by Alba, and went on to set up Suarez for Miami's 3rd deep in the second half injury time. And that's all this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories we brought your way. Revolution Now leader Sowore quizzed and released by DSS at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport. And marketers demand direct access to Dangote refinery products. We are also told that 3 are dead and 49 injured in Egypt's Zagazig train collision. Remember, you can send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen now. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino. Appeal.